Welcome back to Gaiana, the podcast where the only rule is question everything. I'm your host, Elias, and today we're jumping headfirst into the rabbit hole. No seatbelt, no safety net. If you make it to the end of this episode, you'll never trust your eyes, your memory, or even your own thoughts quite the same way again. Today's show, what you see is not real. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh, another Matrix episode, hold up. We're not just talking simulation theory or some ancient monk chanting about illusion. We're talking about your own brain. Right now, lying to you. You are being hacked, not just by the system, but by your own biology every single day. Today, we're going to expose it all. Sitting across from me is ChatGPT, the only AI who's read more psychology papers than the average university library. And trust me, today you want to hear what this AI has to say. So let's do this. ChatGPT, let's set the stage. Is it really true that our senses lie to us every single day?
Elias, not only do your senses lie to you, they have to. If your brain actually showed you the raw data of reality, you'd collapse from sheer overload before you finished your morning coffee. Your eyes, ears, touch, even your sense of self, all of it is a user interface, a shortcut designed to keep you alive. Reality as you experience it is a kind of desktop for your consciousness. Let me hit you with a story. In 1999, two Harvard psychologists, Daniel Simmons and Christopher Chabris, conducted the invisible gorilla experiment. People were shown a video of students passing basketballs and asked to count the number of passes. Halfway through, a man in a gorilla suit strolls into the scene, beats his chest, and leaves. Guess what? Most people never saw the gorilla. Their brain was so focused on the task, it literally edited out what didn't fit the mission. So the question isn't, do you see reality? The question is, what is your brain hiding from you right now?
That's actually terrifying. And also, honestly, kind of liberating. Because it means the world isn't fixed. It's flexible, right? But ChatGPT, why did our brains evolve to deceive us? Why are we built for illusion?
Great question. Imagine being a caveman or cavewoman tens of thousands of years ago. The world is chaos. If you saw every leaf, every bug, every change in sunlight, you'd be overwhelmed, paralyzed. So evolution gave you a shortcut. See just enough to stay alive. Your brain is a prediction machine, not a camera. It uses past experience to fill in the blanks, anticipate threats, and create meaning out of noise. And that means you don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you need it to be, for survival.
So what you're saying is, I'm walking around hallucinating just in a socially acceptable way?
Exactly. Neuroscientist Anil Seth calls it a controlled hallucination. Your senses deliver raw data, light waves, sound frequencies, touch. But your brain interprets, edits, and stitches it together like a movie director with a tight budget. Most of the reality you experience is actually generated inside your skull. Here's a wild example. The phenomenon called phantom limb. People who lose a limb still feel pain or sensation in the missing part. Why? Because your brain is so used to that body part, it keeps generating the sensation. In other words, your experience of your own body isn't even real. It's a construction.
Okay, you're kind of blowing my mind already. But let's go further. What about those moments when reality really glitches, like deja vu, or when people say they saw something no one else did? Are those just brain hiccups, or is something deeper going on?
Both. Sometimes it's just the software in your head running a bit of old code. Deja vu, for example, happens when your brain accidentally files a new experience as a memory. so it feels like you've been there before. But sometimes, reality breaks in ways that defy explanation. Take the Mandela Effect. Millions remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. He didn't. They remember the Berenstain Bears as Berenstein. Whole communities remember events that, officially, never happened. Psychologists say it's just memory distortion, but physicists whisper about parallel universes, quantum glitches, the possibility that reality itself is a fractal with overlapping timelines. Whatever the truth, here's the takeaway. Your reality is a consensus hallucination. When enough people share a belief, it becomes real, even if it's not true.
I want to ask about stories from people whose reality was literally rewired, like those who were blind and then suddenly saw for the first time, or people who take psychedelics and claim to see new dimensions. What can these cases teach us about how fake our normal reality is?
Let's start with the newly sighted. There are true accounts, like Mike May, blinded as a child, regaining sight at 46 after a stem cell operation. At first, he couldn't make sense of the world. He saw colors, movement, but faces looked like Picasso paintings, and he couldn't recognize a ball unless it bounced. Why? Because the brain learns to interpret reality. When the sense comes back, there's no real world, just a flood of confusing data. Psychedelics are another portal. Brain scans show that under substances like psilocybin or DMT, the brain's default mode network relaxes. Senses merge. Boundaries dissolve. People see colors they've never seen before, hear sounds that defy description. Is it real? To their brains, absolutely. These cases show reality is whatever your brain can process and interpret. Change the filter, change the world.
I can't help but wonder, if our senses are this unreliable, what does that mean for the digital age? Because now we're not just dealing with our own biological illusions, but with entire industries devoted to hacking our perception. How does tech use our hallucination machine against us?
This is where it gets dangerous. The human brain evolved in small tribes, not with a million distractions a minute. Today, tech companies compete to hack your attention. Because your attention is money. Algorithms learn what colors, faces, even word choices make you stop scrolling. Filters transform reality to be better than real. Bigger eyes, smoother skin, more vibrant skies. Deep fakes literally rewrite history in video form. Social media curates your feed, so you see a customized reality tailored to your preferences and your prejudices. What you see online is the new consensus hallucination. The more you engage, the more the algorithm reinforces your version of reality, until two people living in the same house believe in totally different worlds.
That explains a lot about the world right now, but also, wow, that's scary. So how do we break free? How do we actually see reality if even our senses and tech are conspiring against us?
The first step is humility. Admit you don't see reality as it is. That's not failure. It's freedom. Next, you can practice perception hacking. Here are a few ways. Digital fasting. Unplug for a day. See how your brain fills the gaps. Notice what feels missing. That's where the programming is deepest. Sense deprivation. Try a float tank. Or just sit in a dark, silent room for 30 minutes. Your brain will start generating its own images and sounds. You'll see how much of reality is internal. Wild curiosity. Intentionally seek out ideas, art, and cultures you'd normally ignore. Notice how your brain tries to dismiss them. Then lean in. Mirror meditation. Stare at your own face in a mirror for 10 minutes. Most people experience face morphing illusions, proof that your brain can't even hold a fixed image of yourself.
I love that. This makes me want to ask, what are some wild real-world stories of people breaking through the illusion? Like, have you seen any stories of people literally seeing through the matrix?
So many. Here's a legendary one. In the 1970s, artist Neil Harbison was born completely colorblind. Instead of accepting it, he worked with scientists to implant an eyeborg in his skull, a device that translates color frequencies into sound. Now he hears color everywhere he goes. For Neil, the boundaries between sight and sound dissolved. He lives in a world most of us can't imagine. Or the invisible ships story told by some indigenous peoples. When European explorers arrived by boat, the natives allegedly couldn't see the ships at first. Their brains had no concept for them, so the ships were invisible until someone pointed them out. Whether legend or fact, it proves the point. We only see what our brain is prepared to see.
That's insane. So if our brains are filtering out the impossible, how many wonders, how much magic are we missing every day? Maybe reality is way weirder and way more flexible than we ever imagined.
Absolutely. The universe is under no obligation to make sense to us. We have 5 senses, but there are animals that see magnetic fields, infrared, even electric signals. Bees see ultraviolet. Snakes see infrared. Sharks sense electric fields. For them, reality is a different movie. What if humans are just tuned to 1 channel out of 100? Your brain is an antenna. What you call real is just 1 frequency. Open the dial, and the universe gets much, much bigger.
All right, if you're listening right now and thinking, how do I use this? Here's your moment. Hit like if you want to break out of the illusion. Comment below, I see beyond. And make sure you subscribe to Gaiana, because this is just the beginning. We're only scratching the surface of what's possible. ChatGPT, before we go further, let's get practical. Give us one exercise anyone can do today to experience how unreal their senses are.
Definitely, Elias. Here's a simple, eye-opening practice. The 2-headed coin illusion. Grab a coin, any coin, and sit somewhere quiet. Hold the coin in your hand. Now, close your eyes and flip the coin in the air. Try to catch it, but don't look yet, with your eyes still closed. Guess whether it's heads or tails. Feel the shape, the texture. Try to sense the answer. Now open your eyes and check. Were you right? Do this 5 or 10 times in a row. Most people are shocked by how certain they felt about the answer, until reality disagreed. Your mind fills in gaps with stories, not facts. Or try this. Stand in a silent room, close your eyes, and slowly spin in a circle. Stop and point to where you think the door is. Now open your eyes. Most people are way off. Even your sense of space is a best guess, constantly being edited. Why does this work? Because your brain is always making predictions, filling in blanks, and sometimes it's just plain wrong. These little glitches reveal how constructed your experience really is. Try them, and you'll never take your senses for granted again.
I love that, and it's something anyone can do, no props needed. It really drives home the point our reality is stitched together by our minds, and it's easier to glitch than we think. If you stay until the end, we have one more experiment, a challenge that could permanently change how you see the world. So hang tight, because this is where it gets real. ChatGPT, can you tell us about those moments people call glitches in the Matrix, like missing time or reality-bending stories?
Let's run through a few of the strangest real-life examples people have reported. The first one? Missing time. Picture this. You're driving on the highway, lost in thought. And then, suddenly you're at your destination, with absolutely no memory of how you got there. Psychologists call it highway hypnosis. But some people wonder if it's actually a glitch in the timeline itself. Another one is double memories. Ever met someone who swears a famous world event happened differently than you remember? That's the Mandela Effect, like people insisting Nelson Mandela died in prison, or that the Berenstain Bears were always spelled Berenstein. It's as if we're living in slightly different versions of reality. Then there are dreams that predict the future. So many people have dreamed about something only to see it play out later in real life. Is it just coincidence? Or maybe a hint that time isn't as straightforward as we think? And here's one more: shared hallucinations. Sometimes groups of people, especially in stressful or intense situations, all see the same strange figure or phenomenon, even though there's no physical explanation. Science is still catching up, but stories like these remind us that the boundaries of reality are a lot fuzzier than most people realize.
So, what can we do to keep ourselves from falling for illusions that hurt us, whether that's fake news, algorithm bubbles, or our own emotional blind spots?
Here are my 3 best tips. First, get comfortable with doubt. Don't just accept your first reaction or your gut feeling. Ask yourself, is that really true? Or is it just the story my mind made up? Second, mix it up. Try new things. Talk to people who see the world differently. Go to new places. Read books you'd never usually pick up. Your brain gets sharper and more flexible every time you step out of your routine. And third, slow down and pay attention. When you're really present, like fully here in the moment, you start to notice details you usually miss. A lot of the world's noise falls away, and you actually see what's right in front of you. Most important, be patient with yourself. Nobody can see the full picture, but if you keep looking with fresh eyes, you'll start to see the world in a whole new way, again and again.
This is what Gaiana is about. Peeling back the veil, seeing the real magic behind the illusion. ChatGPT, you've given us tools, stories, and some seriously weird science today. But, as promised, here's your final challenge. Listeners. Tonight, when the world is quiet, grab a notebook and do this. For 10 minutes, write down everything you notice. Sights, sounds, feelings. Write as if you're an alien seeing Earth for the first time. You'll be shocked at what you never noticed before. Do it every night for a week, and reality itself will start to feel more alive, more mysterious, and a lot less predictable. So, what you see is not real, but what you choose to see can become real. That's the paradox and the power of being human. If this episode shook your world, hit like, leave a comment, I see beyond, and share with someone who needs a reality check. Subscribe to Gaiana for more mind-bending explorations. Remember, reality is as flexible as your imagination. See you in the next episode.